and then I'll say hello. Hello. Welcome to another conversation, I suppose. A conversation between me and what I imagine you are. Represented, of course, through discourse outside of Twitch, and summarized in a single number. 2 is the answer in this particular case. Hello and welcome to the diminishing of personhood is inevitable when accommodating the sensibilities of the discrete. All that to say, hello and welcome. Thank you for existing. Today, I have decided for some reason, actually I know the reason, I can tell you the reason, and I plan to. I'm going to try to figure out what intelligence is. Way back in the day, in 2nd grade, we had an IQ test. I was in grade school, of course, getting a public education, a profound privilege indeed. And we were graded according to our ability to answer questions that were designed to confuse us, and thus the nature of an IQ test. I don't remember what I got. I wish I had that information, because I feel like it would be interesting. And of course, today I intend to prove that it is unnecessary. All that to say, I got a high score, whatever. I don't know what it was. I wish I did. However, I asked a simple question, I thought, a very complex one, as it turns out. I've discovered recently, doing some research to prepare for this particular conversation. I asked in 2nd grade, my teacher, what is intelligence? What is an IQ? What does it mean to get a score? What does it mean to be graded? What is the capacity to be intelligent? I didn't word it like that, obviously. I was in 2nd grade. I didn't know words very well. Not as well as I do these days. And the answer I got felt unsatisfactory. And I think the reason for that is twofold. One, I don't think any answer would have been satisfactory to my little mind at the time. And 2, the conversation around intelligence has evolved. It has developed. It has expanded quite a lot since then, especially with the introduction of the phrase emotional intelligence into common discourse not too long ago, actually. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in a museum. But, yeah, intelligence is a multifaceted experience. It is, I guess it's similar to the conversation around identity. A quantifying of details, I guess. Characteristics, maybe. Definitions of experiences. We use them to relate to ourselves and to each other. And, I don't know. A little cursory research, I discovered that IQ is just completely arbitrary. In fact, the person credited with coining the term derived it from a word that already existed. From the research I did. Of course, take everything that I say with some amount of salt that you deem appropriate. Because I can't and don't know everything. Google doesn't even know everything, but we are going to try to use Google today. We're going to use our ability to search things on the internet to find out what intelligence is. And I have a little experience planned for today. Checking out the website of a particularly well-known intelligence organization. We're going to see what they have to say about IQ. Before I get started, of course, if people stop by at a later point in the stream and they don't hear this context, it might be potentially a little interesting. I am not attempting to define intelligence to diminish our understanding of it. I don't want to or intend to reject, deny, contradict anyone's relationship with their own understanding of the word, of the experience. I just want to explore different perspectives to understand and to get to the bottom, I guess, of this whole system of IQ. the origins of IQ tests, and all sorts of things like that. So if you feel like hanging out, listening to me say random things in the realm of intelligence, well, I mean, this is the perfect opportunity, isn't it? I'm probably not going to do this again. But it'll be on YouTube as well, if you wanted to catch it there. But I've got some other cool things planned for this weekend, too. I figure I'd tell you about it. I'm playing Starfield. Maybe I'll deal with the toilet milk. Who knows? I'm doing that tomorrow. And then on Sunday, I'm starting a read-through of the Christian Bible, which should be interesting. It starts off with a demigod project that gives birth to a race of ancient elves. Absolutely wild stuff. So we'll get into that too. But for now, we'll have this lovely music in the background, cut off very dramatically in the middle of everything. And here we are at a tab of Google. What are we going to do? Well, what I tried to define earlier. You get to see a little bit of my browser history there. What is intelligence? Oop. What is intelligence? Okay, so we have artificial intelligence here telling us what intelligence is. It says, intelligence is the ability to learn, reason, solve problems, and adapt to new situations. It's a general mental ability that integrates cognitive functions like memory, attention, language, and planning. It's a complex trait influenced by a variety of factors. So right from the beginning, we understand that it's hard to define. The definition requires a lot of words. Of course, if we look at the dictionary, it says the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. It's an interesting summary, taking our various experiences of those very things and condensing it. One thing that I like about the dictionary is the same thing that I don't like about the dictionary, is that it's so simple in its presentation. It's incredible to be able to summarize things like this in so few words. But it also, just like marketing, there are some unfortunate side effects, like, I don't know, defund the police, for example. It does not capture the systematic reallocation of public funds towards a less aggressive approach to conflict. But it fits on a sign. So there you go. Intelligence, this little definition, fits on a sign. Should we go to Wikipedia? What do we think? Is Wikipedia a good source? Okay. I just remembered I have to look at my chat. My friend says, I want to ask about the Bible, but I'll just have to see. You can ask anything, literally. Fridays, I have something to talk about, sure, but it's called The Conversation. A conversation is not not a monologue. It's a dialogue. So if you have any questions about anything, just send it. And yeah, the dictionary is the definition of a waffle. Waffle being something with little pockets, as compared to a pancake, of course, where everything is interconnected. The syrup goes across the surface and over the sides, which relates to a person in a way. Okay, so we have Wikipedia. We have the National Institutes of Health, Merriam-Webster Dictionary, Britannica, Reddit. Okay, Reddit's probably a good place for information. We all know that very well. I'm sure we have experiences to support that assertion. Let's start with Wikipedia. Why not? The capacity for abstraction, logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge, reasoning, planning, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving can be described as the ability to perceive or infer information and to retain it as knowledge to be applied to adaptive behaviors within an environment or context. That's actually pretty good. That is a pretty solid summary. A lot of words. And we're starting to see that intelligence, once again, is a multifaceted experience. It is seen through the discrete perspective of the person, which is very tricky, right? Because when we go to express our experiences of intelligence, it's through the vector of words, or perhaps other medium, depending on how you want to express it. But we each have our own definitions of individual words. We could agree on using the same words for those definitions, right? But they're supported by our individual experiences and our own relationship to the words that we use. So, for example, I see that everyone watching this currently is represented in the stream manager on Twitch by the number 4 at this point. So as I speak to the number 4, think upon your own experience, your own individual situation. You are in a place, having thoughts, listening to words, and interpreting an interpretation. It's unique to you. And so when we have a conversation about intelligence, we're trying to summarize that complex, multiversal experience of being a person, of being a human. We're trying to summarize and communicate that beyond the veil of the unknown, the veil that separates us, that we attempt to pierce through insight and exploration, shared experiences, conversation. But it's not always that accurate. In fact, I found a thing. My friend turned me on to this website that I had not heard of before. So I don't know if that's an insult to the people who own the website. It might be. I guess if they happen to be watching, which they probably aren't, they'll have to let me know. But we have Wikipedia. We have this website I'm going to get to. Let's check the National Institutes of Health, because I'm really curious about this one. And then maybe we'll look at Reddit. I don't know. That seems like a strange idea. But at the same time, it's important to diversify the sources of your information to gain more perspective. So maybe we'll take a look. Okay, so this is a document that even has background context. So there's a lot going on here. But let's read the abstract. You know, we're on Twitch. Maybe we don't have the time for the full article. But this is National Library of Medicine. This is the journal article Intelligence by Robert J. Sternberg, PhD, authority. The abstract. Intelligence is the ability to learn from experience and to adapt to, shape, and select environments. Intelligence is measured by raw scores on conventional standardized tests, which varies across the lifespan and also across generations. So it's an evolving definition. Intelligence can be understood in part in terms of the biology of the brain, especially with regard to the functioning in the prefrontal cortex. So there's locality to this whole experience. It also correlates with brain size, at least within humans. Very curious about that point. Studies of the effects of genes and environment suggest that the heritability coefficient ratio of genetic to phenotypic variation is between 0.4 and 0.8. Although heritability varies as a function of socioeconomic status and other factors. All that to say, yeah, if your parents are smart, you might be smart as well. But there's a lot that goes into it, right? We have already mentioned the physical nature of the body, as well as a influence from socioeconomic status and whatever other factors are. A lot of different things. I'm curious about the next sentence. It says, racial differences in measured intelligence have been observed, but race is a socially constructed rather than biological variable, so such differences are difficult to interpret. Yeah, I should say so. I'm going to get into this a little more maybe later, depends on if I remember. But one of the things that I've discovered and kind of figured out as a result of looking at this over the past few days is our definition of intelligence and the way we measure it is fundamentally flawed. Because as in the process of any study, you gain information only from the people who are studied. The people who are studied are inherently limited to people who can be studied. So people who have access to the little pocket of society, the systems in place to facilitate the measuring and the studying and the information collection. If you don't have access to that, this goes into socioeconomic status, you cannot be represented. That's another thing in politics as well. We have this whole hierarchy of representatives, but my local representative doesn't even know my name, doesn't know I exist, doesn't know how I differ from my neighbor, probably gets like studies, reports, census, things like that. Tries their best, I imagine, to make sure everybody's okay. Or at least I hope so. I don't know. It sounds like a hard job, but that's part of what I addressed in The Gravity of Gravity, the book that I'm writing, in which society survives gravity pausing because they calmed down and figured out their stuff a little better. Through the vector of admin, who's a ubiquitous AI system, who's able to talk individually with people and get their perspectives and opinions, and then to summarize and translate that to their representatives to better represent the populace. We don't have that kind of system. We just have marketing campaigns and we hope for the best. And then a lot of people argue about it. Let's see. Intelligence. Intelligence is one's ability to learn from experience and to adapt to, shape, and select environments. Formal studies of intelligence date back to the early 20th century. So we haven't even been formally studying it for very long. A lot of different theories, multiple intelligences here. Okay, Gardner argued that intelligence is not unitary. There is no general intelligence broadly construed, but rather it is multiple. So there are multiple different types of intelligences, according to Gardner. And it's something that I resonate with as well. Because you can be like really good at one thing and not really good at another thing. So why not have that apply to the pattern of thought? That's what I relate to. Because let me tell you, before I understood what emotional intelligence was, I was not very good at it. I was probably better than your average 13-year-old, but not by much. I can tell you that. Let's see. We have a lot of information here that we don't really need to get into. This is just a cursory glance at the depths of intelligence. Let's check out Reddit, r/ask psychology. I'm probably going to demonstrate my isolation in age as I look at Reddit and don't understand what it says. How is intelligence defined, and who is considered an intelligent person? Are IQ tests valid assessments for measuring it? Terminology, definition of phenomenon. Let's see. The first response here, it depends on what you consider intelligence to define someone as intelligent. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. What is intelligence? You have to know before you know. Before you can prove it, I guess. That's what we're trying to do, right? To prove that intelligence exists. Yeah, there's a lot of acronyms in here that I just don't know. So it's not particularly helping me. It does say none of them are perfect, which I think is the main point of what I'm getting at. What would be the perfect definition of intelligence? I don't think it exists. But you know, the question is less what is it and more what do we do with that? What do we do with the definition? What do we do with our relationship with this? And I'll tell you, a lot of people have a lot of different experiences of it. Me personally, I've just been confused about the whole thing my entire life. I've seen other people experience the conversation around IQ with a fair bit of dissonance. I've seen some people weaponize the conversation to degrade and to criticize other people. I've seen like perspectives take their relationship and universalize it, to generalize it, to create some system of hierarchy I have a better or a higher IQ score than you, therefore I am better, I am higher, I am, as George Washington as a teenager would say, someone of better quality. That also, by the way, writings from George Washington as a teenager, that also comes up in my a writer reads Sunday stream, because I got a version of the Bible that's it's like the Patriot edition, so it's got the Constitution and this weird list of social rules that George Washington wrote when he was a teenager. So I'll be looking at that as well. It's absolutely absolutely ridiculous. Cool, big words, all that jazz. Sounds good. Deleted responses, that sounds about right. Multiple facets with various definitions. Okay, so what we're getting at here is that intelligence is hard to define because it's multifaceted. It's difficult to experience because experiencing, well, actually, no, it's easy to experience it, but expressing it is the difficult part. Expressing it requires an understanding of language and the concepts that you need to apply in order to define and describe your experience. So it's easy to have a thought. It's hard to explain that thought. That's something that I have definitely noticed in my own life. Let's see here. IQ specifically is a very flawed measure. Okay, so we have that. We have that going on. There are videos. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff. There are a lot of people doing a lot of things, but what I'm trying to do is just look at it and figure it out. IQ is what is measured by an IQ test, nothing more, nothing less. It's a construct we came up with, although it does predict several outcome variables. Okay. Fair enough. I guess that's the difficult line, isn't it? Because there's the conversation, which is entirely arbitrary, and then there's the application of the ideas. The application of the ideas suggests that there may be some truth to it. At the same time, the application is measured, right? It's comparative. It's defined by metrics like a GPA, for example, a grade point average, I think that stands for. You can have a high GPA, and then people are like, oh, you're really smart. Because intelligence is multifaceted and education focuses on a certain type of intelligence, somebody who doesn't have a high GPA is not necessarily not intelligent. I don't think anyone's not intelligent. You know, everybody is brilliant and amazing. Absolutely incredible. The capacity to have a thought, absolutely just ridiculous. It's an incredible experience, and I don't think that should be diminished through comparison. Some of the most insightful and brilliant people I've ever met have not performed as well as I have in academic settings. And I think that, I don't know, I wish we could develop a little more to be able to have a more productive conversation on what intelligence is, what the experience of it is, and to, rather than set up a system of comparison that is inherently flawed, to be able to explore the intricacies and the beauty of the individual and their experience and expression of intelligence. And then we get to the point that I said I would talk about. I've said a lot of things I would talk about, but this particular thing, this website that my friend showed me, I'm going to look at it. We're going to see what it's all about. To sum it up, it is a website of smart people, I guess is how they would do it. Welcome to a world of exciting social, cultural, and intellectual opportunities. Mensa International. Now, apparently, this organization is well known. I hadn't heard of it, so I don't know much about it. So we're going to learn about it through their website. Apparently, my friend recognizes it. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe they told me about it as I was growing up. I don't know, but they got this little thing right here. Well, we'll take a look at it. But first, about. Let's look at the about section. It's the world's largest, oldest, and most famous high IQ society, a thriving global community of around 150,000 highly intelligent people. There are active organizations on every continent except Antarctica, which I think is disappointing because I feel like there's a lot of potential there. Okay, so we have in the About section, understand. So that's pretty fun. A command as a subtitle. Okay, have a good look around this site to help you understand what Mensa is, what it does, and what an incredible difference joining Mensa could make to your life. If you love socializing and meeting new people, if you thrive on stimulating conversations and intellectual challenges, and if you want to travel the world and have some extraordinary life experiences, you've definitely come to the right place. Let's take a look at this real quick. I'll explain my context, or at least a little bit about it, while I'm reading this so you understand the things that I'm saying. When I look at the bullet points that they're using to determine or to help you determine whether you're a good fit for it or not, they say socializing and meeting new people. I do like socializing and meeting new people, so we're good there. Thrive on stimulating conversations and intellectual challenges. Sure. I also thrive in other situations like getting intoxicated and playing video games. Love that. Absolutely love that. So I guess maybe they don't mean exclusively. Who knows? If you want to travel the world and have some extraordinary life experiences, I would like to do that. However, I am incredibly poor and in a place where that is still suffused with privilege. I can be here on Twitch streaming. Absolutely incredible opportunity. But I don't even have money to go down the street to look at the free art museum. I can't even afford that. But you know what? Maybe they'll explain how joining will allow me to travel the world. I don't know how that would work unless they're like paying me or something. Or maybe that's what it is. Maybe they'll pay for me to travel the world. Join the 2%, like the milk. In order to join, you have to take an approved intelligence test that has been properly administered and supervised. So a lot of constraints here. You have to prove that you are worthy in a very specific application. On that test, you need to attain a score that places you within the upper 2% of the general population. The general population being poorly defined because the test only applies to the people who are tested. And we'll see in a moment exactly how that is limited. Contact your local organization to find out where and when you can take a test. Useful information. If you happen to be a resident in a country that doesn't yet have a recognized group, please contact International for further information. So they might have more opportunities. You know, they might be a little more aware of that. So that could be good. Let's see where the Mensa approved test is. Maybe it's on their website somewhere. Let's see. We're trying to identify and foster human intelligence for the benefit of humanity. That's a big goal. Encourage research into the nature, characteristics, and uses of intelligence. Maybe this Twitch stream is an example. To provide a stimulating intellectual and social environment for its members. I wonder how they do that. Probably like a newsletter or something. I want to join. Already a member. Sign in. Okay, so we're welcome to the front-facing marketing of the organization. Let's see. So it's about a table in Latin. So it's named after a table because it's a round table society, which I guess would be really hard to run a game of D&D at. So the hierarchy of the dungeon master eradicated. Ethnicity, color, creed, national origin, age, politics, educational, and social background are all completely irrelevant. I think that is a poor way to phrase that. I don't think that those things are completely irrelevant. I think what they mean to say is that they mean to expand on that, which is completely irrelevant in determining the qualifying of the applicant to join the organization. But even that isn't entirely true from what I can tell. And I'll show you why in a second. The only relevant qualification is scoring on a test. So on a approved intelligence test, which still has not been defined yet. Totally neutral organization with a bunch of different people in it. Having an opinion would be contrary to its entire purpose. Okay. almost 50 countries. Okay. That's pretty cool. That's an interesting way to put that. I guess almost 50 sounds better than over 40. Yeah, because you have 50,000 in the same thing and 150,000, so it just looks better. And it makes more sense to the average person, I guess, because it looks better. I prefer that. Almost 50, I would take that over 40. Is that would, I don't know. Actually, that would line up pretty well because we have a 1 and a 5 here, and a 4 is 1 away from 5. So maybe that wouldn't be too bad. Every continent except Antarctica. So Antarctica, we don't have something there. Okay, so we already read the stated purposes. I like how they define it as stated purposes because that implies that there's an unstated purpose as well. There's something going on in the background, something that we don't know because it hasn't been stated. Very curious. Oh, it has a constitution. Let's see what the Constitution is. The 3 main purposes listed above are stated on the first page of the Constitution. Okay, perfect. In that case, let's click on this. Oh, wow. The nature, the policy, individual membership. Oh, maybe this will have international supervisory psychologist has to approve on the test. It has to be properly administered. The place... or direct, so pretty much anywhere. Okay. That's pretty good. International Board of Directors, pretty extensive. It's got a hierarchy, so you know it's good. Okay, so a lot of stuff. Conditions. You have to follow the rules. And pay the dues as set or modified from time to time by their National Mensa Committee or by the International Board of Directors if they are direct international members. Okay, so here we go. You have to pay fees to be part of the organization, immediately disqualifying me because I do not have the money to join. I can't pay that. And if I were to join and then not pay, that will... without further notice, constitute resignation of membership. Okay. So you have to continue paying, and if you stop, you are no longer part of it. The thing that I keep referencing as an example of why the application is, what did that one website say? It described it as less than perfect, is because in order to, we'll take a look at this. We'll go back here. Mensa approved IQ test. If we take a look at that. Okay, so this one meets Mensa international standards, but doesn't say that it could help you qualify. We have free tests. We have Mensa IQ challenge, which is different from the qualifying ability. We have some information on test scores. Take the Mensa admission test. 98th percentile, $60. Okay. So you got to pay $60 to take the test to be able to apply to join the organization that you have to pay to be in. A ton of paywalls, basically, is what I'm getting at. So if you don't have money, then you can't be considered intelligent, in a sense, in a very difficult and unfortunate sense. They have a lot of pretty good marketing. I mean, the website looks pretty nice. It moves in an interesting way. Are you one of us? I don't know. prize-winning and famous, but most don't have names you'll heard of. Just ordinary people with extraordinary IQs who tend to be very curious, quick to grasp concepts, and have widely varying interests, as well as money. They have money. Most have a good sense of humor. Okay, an interesting thing to add. They like to talk, and they usually have a lot to say. I mean, that sums me up. But I'm not a Mensan, I guess. I don't know. That's the term they use? Okay. They often have strong opinions, and several strong opinions. Okay, fair enough. So maybe, but I don't have money, so I can't be. Oh, you can find your life partner. Man, this organization is promising a lot of things. Lifelong friends, life partners, sense of family, casual social activities, get-togethers. I don't know if I would want to get together with Mensa members. Only because, well, I don't know. That's a lot of money. That's so much money to be able to do that. And you'll notice so far they haven't even described the fees, because they are set by region, it seems, and they are variable. They can change at any time for any reason. Let's see. I do like this right here. I am exceptional, on this very strange way of typing, are you Mensa? I am exceptional. That's what I am. Oh, it even uses the fancy font that lets you know that they're personable. A bunch of words that describes me. Yay. Describes you too as well, if you're watching, in case you were wondering. Exceptional. You are indeed exceptional. Brilliant. Beautiful. Incredible. But let's see what they say. A lot of people are gifted, but maybe the word gifted sounds conceited or pretentious to you, and you'd never say such a thing about yourself. Well, certainly not out loud. It seems like they have a very specific idea of who their audience is, and I think I may not be their intended audience, but probably because I don't have money, I guess. I'm sure that goes into it. Giftedness refers to individuals who possess remarkably high intelligence or cognitive ability, placing them among the upper tiers of intellectual capability. In the specific context of Mensa, a person is classified as gifted if they scored within the top 2% of the population on a recognized intelligence test. Okay, well, how do I... Let's see here. Maybe it's under here. No, doesn't look like it. IQ test, FAQs. Maybe this will take us there. Here we go. How do I qualify? Okay, so I need to do that. How do I get proof? I've never been tested. I have, and I think I did well. I'm not sure I'm ready to take it. Doesn't do pre-tests. Adaptive. Okay, but where is it? Oh, you have to obtain it from your nearest Mensa office. You can't use online tests. Many tests are not valid for people under the age of 16, which is when I was tested for my IQ. So Mensa doesn't even do that. If you have any other queries, again, regarding eligibility or testing in general, please contact International for further information. Okay, so you can take a test administered by Mensa or submit a qualifying test score from another approved test. There are a large number of tests that are approved. So you have to go to the office. You got to go to their office and ask them. It seems like approved includes supervision of a qualified person. What is IQ menu option? Is that a thing? Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now. Okay. Yeah. So, you have to pay for somebody to make sure that you take it right. So there's, oh yeah, this one. This one where the website actually is kind of confusing. Oh yeah, this part. IQ is a standard score of comparison. Okay, so here we go. The peer group score is an IQ of 100, obtained by applying the same test to huge numbers of people from all socioeconomic strata of society and taking the average. I don't think that that is accurate. Do I have proof? No, but think about it for a second. All socioeconomic strata of society. There are things that need to be determined when we look at those collections of words. All, first of all, socioeconomic strata and society. How do we define society? That's what we need to know, because then we understand more how we define all and the strata. I am not entirely sure that they have tested all people. Unless, of course, their definition of society is more limited than my own. That could be the case. That definitely was the case in relatively recent human history. A lot of very problematic opinions, but let's see. The term IQ was coined in 1912 by a psychologist in relation to the German term, which is IQ. So at the time, IQ was represented as a ratio of mental age to chronological age times 100. So if an individual of 10 years had a mental age of 10, their IQ would be 100. However, if their mental age was greater than their chronological age, it would be greater. Now, what I would like to know, and maybe I'll look it up, maybe I'll just enjoy contemplation. How do you define mental age? Also, by the way, this dial here where we have, my friend pointed out there is only medium and high, but there is another dot here, which implies that there's also a low setting. I don't know, this dial of IQ, it seems completely arbitrary and kind of weird. It's like a bad meme on the website, in the conversation of IQ. I mean, maybe it's good. I don't know. Memes are a form of art, and art is interpretive. Let me know what you think if you have an opinion. I would love to know what you think about the dial of IQ on the Mensa website. Very specific little detail. Okay, so let's see here. Standard deviation, okay. Of the population. So the tests have to be standardized and normed and approved by professional psychologist associations. So if we even look at that for a second, how do you become a professional psychologist association? You need access to the resources to have an organization or an association, and you also need the expertise, which is gained through the acquisition of knowledge, which in professional settings requires, once again, money. So IQ, as far as I can tell, is a consequence of capitalism. And the capitalist paradigm is very flawed in its foundation. Okay, here we go. In practice, qualifying for Mensa in the top 2% means scoring 132 or more in the Stanford-Binet test or 148 in the Cattell equivalent. I don't know. I don't know what that means. How is that helpful? I guess I'll have to take the test, but I can't because I can't afford it. Oh, here we go. A bunch of old white guys who have opinions. Opinions good enough to put on a website. I actually don't care about that part very much, generally. A bell curve to represent averages. That's really exciting. And then I can subscribe for news and updates. Actually, on legal, let's see what the terms and conditions are. Privacy, copyright. Yeah, I don't own any of this, obviously. It's not for me. It's not mine. I'm excited about the genes and environment, though. has long been debated. Whether intelligence is inherited or due to environmental influences has long been debated. That's a false dichotomy. How about that? To what degree is a more accurate way to put that? To what degree are these factors influencing? To what degree? It's a better question. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's look up an IQ test. Oh yeah, water. Oh, okay. So I have a free version of the Stanford Binet test in Discord, which I don't have open currently. I should open that. I'm going to switch back to my face. Full cam. Hello. Welcome. I'm going to open Discord and attempt to fit it on my second monitor. There's not much space there, unfortunately. Okay, where did Discord opened and then closed so I could try to open it again so it could update. And then it closed again so I could try to open it again so it could update. All right. I love this song, by the way. It's barely there, but you might be able to hear it playing in the background. Maybe I'll show that. If you happen to go there and look at the tests they accept, one of them is represented on this website, the website you've sent me. Limited by a timer, which is problematic. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the message you sent me now. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to be able to finish it because if I'm talking about it, I'm not going to abide by the timer, but okay, let's take a look. Let's go back. We'll end the nice music. Maybe I'll add that to the, duplicate the scene over here in Streamlabs and then add the music so I can just play it. It'll be a little easier. Maybe we won't have a hard cut in the middle of everything. But here we are at one of the tests. We have a quick test, 50 questions in 12 minutes. We can start that. We can look at this. So, what is it? It's an examination meant to gauge intelligence through 5 factors of cognitive abilities that include fluid reasoning, knowledge, quantitative reasoning, visual spatial processing, and working memory. Verbal and nonverbal responses are measured. The 5 factors are given a weight, and the combined score is often reduced to a ratio known as IQ. How reliable is it? Among the most reliable, currently used in education, undergone many validity tests and revisions throughout its century-long history. So it's only a century old, which is not old. It's not old at all. And while there are undoubtedly a few issues with the assessment, most results are treated as accurate. Notice they didn't say most results are accurate, only that they're treated as accurate. That is, individuals with high scores are usually gifted, and those with low scores often face some sort of cognitive disability. An interesting way to phrase that. Drinking water is very nice. Okay, so origins, right? Let's get to the bottom of it. It comes from a scale, French device for identifying levels of intelligence. The scale was developed by a couple of people. Education laws were in flux at the time, and then the person who helped make it was approached by the government. They wanted a device to detect children that possessed notably below average levels of intelligence for their age. That sounds weird, right? I'm not the only one who thinks that's weird. The government wanted a device to detect children of notably below average levels of intelligence for their age. Why would they want that? What would they do with it? What do we do with it? That's very, very interesting exploration. That's why I wanted to look at it today. But yeah, why not? We'll close this website. Very weird indeed. Thank you for validating my opinion. And it is indeed an opinion. Everything that I'm saying is. You can have it confirmed and supported by articles on the internet, but ultimately, knowledge is subjective and temporary. It is only known by you in that moment in the way that you know it. We can agree on words to represent it, but again, going back to what it actually is, it's all just assumptions. Okay, so let's start. The 8th month of the year, August. I'm probably going to get these wrong. I don't know how that helps. The average of all integers from 17 to 55. I don't know. Probably 30. Hell if I know. I don't know how that helps. What is... I don't even know. I'm on stream. You don't think when you're on stream. That's not how it works. Let's go with 31. Why not? I don't know. Random number. 6 years. Jill will be twice Amanda's age. 1 year ago, she was 9 times Amanda's age. How old is Jill now? Actually, that's a very interesting question. It reminds me of me and my dad. He is twice my age now. But next year, actually this year, he's going to be less than twice my age. And finally, I'll be catching up with him. One day I'll catch up with him. Maybe even, well, no, actually that's not how numbers work. What's up with all these ads? They're very distracting. How am I supposed to focus if there are ads everywhere? Okay, so 6, a year ago, 10, 9, 6, 12, I don't know. Does it really matter? Let's go with 10. I like 10. I just like that number. Science class has 2 times as many boys as girls. Okay, so starting with the, I don't know, are we talking about, it's a weird thing to do. That reminds me of a thing. I could tell you a story if you want. I'm not taking this seriously, obviously. Back in middle school, I had to move halfway through 7th grade. And my teacher, I guess, and the principal or vice principal, somebody brought me in front of a class to introduce me and to get me ready to start my tenure, I guess, at the school. And they were like, okay, why don't you go find a seat? Go sit down. I looked at all of the seats available. There were like 3 available. They were split. So was the class. There were all the girls on one side and all the boys on the other. And they told me to find a seat, and I was paralyzed by the social implications of the gender binary and my place within that context. And then my friend Jake was like, hey, come sit over here. And so I did. And I'm actually going to hang out with him tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that. But anyway, back to the question. Final exam, girls' average was 90, and the class average was 80. Average score of the boys, I don't know, 75. Why not? I like that number. Assume the first 2 statements are true. Does that involve the command? I don't know. Is it a statement? Is a command a statement? What is a statement if not an expression? An expression of an idea. Okay, all restaurants serve beverages. Fanta is popular. Do Japanese restaurants in the U.S. serve Fanta? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I guess it depends on whether they do or not. I don't know. Anyway, so we need to move 23 boxes from the truck to the loading dock. The forklift can only hold 3 at once. Oh, man. That's so many. It's going to take you 6 trips to get that. 13th in line at the coffee shop, 13th from the back of the line. Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. So if we're 13th, there are 12 in front. 13th, there are 12 behind. So 25. I don't know. Let's go with that. Add the even numbers. So This is pretty much D&D, actually, now that we look at it. Random chance, we're rolling dice, we're adding modifiers. We add everything but 11 and 37. So 38 plus 2 is 40, 4, 50, 68. Let's go with even, because 68 is an even number. Okay, so if there are 18 boxes full of picture frames, each one containing 22 frames, how many picture frames are contained in the boxes? My favorite thing about this, okay, think about this, right? This is a measure of intelligence. I put forward the idea that this is unnecessary with our current level of technology. Of course, everybody says if we didn't have it, we would still need the skills, but for what? To rebuild society? We might as well build it differently. So if we have 18 times 22, I don't know, I'm going to go with 352. Whatever. The smallest amount, I don't know, probably this one. Gift cards is 8 inches by 4 and with a volume of 64 inches cubed. What is the height of the box? Well, I mean, 2, right? I don't know. If Thursday is in 3 days, what day was yesterday? That's so funny. I ask myself this kind of question all the time. It's like, okay, what is today? What do I have to do? So tomorrow I'm streaming Starfield. 2 days from now, I'm streaming reading the Bible. Okay, maybe the Constitution, maybe something from George Washington. Who knows? If Thursday is in 3 days, well, then hopefully I have everything sorted by then. Because then I have Wednesday I'm teaching, Thursday I'm streaming, Tuesday I'm teaching and running a game of D&D. Monday, I don't know, maybe I'm busy on Monday. Maybe I'm taking a break, who knows? Counting from 1 to 100, how many 6s? Well, I guess just 1, right? Unless, of course, you're separating numbers into individual numbers, which I guess could be fun. Well, there's 1, I mean, I don't know. There's 11. Why not? Duplicates. Oh, no. This whole thing again. This, honestly, this right here, this reminds me of what it's like to read anything on the internet. You have acronyms representing realities, whether those realities are based on a characteristic of the person or based on some accomplishment of theirs. There are a lot of different ways to express a person. I'm just gonna guess 4. We'll go with 4. The word that correctly completes the following sentence. Well, this one should be fun. Although we would like a bigger office for our company someday, our current one is ample, and we are happy with it. Obviously, we wouldn't be happy with it if we're focusing on how confined it is, right? Filthy, that's irrelevant. we don't want to be happy with filthy, unless we want to. That is a good point, because you wouldn't want like a... Actually, that would change the definition of the word, wouldn't it? I was about to say you wouldn't want a filthy motocross track, for example, because you want dirt there. But then you would alter the definition of filthy to accommodate the state of cleanliness, including dirt. I don't know. Let's go with ample. The word that best describes the meaning of the bolded word in the following sentence. The newspaper released a scathing review of the director's latest Broadway hit. Contemptuous. I mean, uncertain would be funny. It was like, latest Broadway hit. I don't know. I don't know about it. Friday's the second day of the month. What day of the month is the upcoming Sunday? It's the 4th, I think. I don't know. 33 minutes after 7 o'clock is 28 minutes before 8 o'clock. I mean, I guess it depends on the presentation and how much is left. I don't know. Whenever it comes to time, time is a construct. Everything is false. Okay, so made up words. Some are those and all are those. So sure, why not? If you want to define a word. Utspo. Okay, to form an English word. This doesn't feel like an intelligence test. It feels like an education test. Now, that is a very good point, and I'll spend the last 2 minutes sitting here looking at this and talking about how there's a difference between intelligence and the quantifiable information that you would need to exercise the intelligence to prove that you have it. It kind of goes back to my presentation of the concept of privilege to a friend of mine who disagreed with its existence. When you're considering privilege, intelligence is inherently tied to a conversation about privilege because you have the capacity to exercise the privilege of intelligence, which is a privilege itself. There are a bunch of different levels to it. So when it comes to this, you aren't going to be able to unscramble the letters to form an English word if you don't know the English word that is scrambled. For example, utspo, same thing with days of the week. This is making the assumption that the intelligence that we're testing with this particular test is not separated or independent from a knowledge base, which is acquired through access to education, which is not guaranteed. This test is very compartmentalized. It's a little pocket. It shows you what somebody with the information, would they be able to arrange it in a way that we can quantify, which is an absolute mess. I don't really know what to do about that, though, at the same time. I know what to do with the next 4 seconds, which is to continue the sentence until it reaches its conclusion. But in terms of intelligence tests, no idea. Bouts. Well, I mean, it's got an E in it as well. Wait, ew. Boots. How about this? We'll prove our intelligence and put butts. Submit. I'm in the 16th percentile. My last answer was not submitted because time ran out. Oh, here we go. Now I can pay to get my result. I can pay even more to get a practice IQ test. So I can train my intelligence, which seems a little contrary to the definitions we were exploring earlier. So in order to see the results, right now they're just saying I'm within the 16th percentile of, I guess the implication is all of humanity. Not accurate. The best way to put this is my performance in this particular free test ranks within in the 16th percentile of the total results from the test as has been completed by people who have been able to take it. And in order to actually know what that means, I have to pay $5, which I don't have. I don't even have $5. The most popular recommended. This is why I set my lowest paid tier on Patreon as my recommended, because you have to recommend something. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna sit here and recommend that you pay more than you can. You don't even have to do that. You can sign up for free. It's patreon.com/Darian Thomas if you wanted to read my book that I'm writing. That said, if I pay more money, I get a discount, which begs the question why it couldn't cost this much to begin with. I get even more stuff, answers and detailed explanations, which means I wouldn't get detailed explanations. I would just get the test result and the answers for $5. You can view a sample first. Maybe we'll do that in a second. You can download all of this immediately. Obviously, it's a digital thing. This is some electrons, some points of data, some bits flipping every now and then, being accumulated and interpreted by other bits. And I have to pay $13 for it, or $5 if I want less. But then there's premium, where you get your result and practice IQ test, plus full length tests, plus 15 bonus questions, plus everything else, and tips to help solve questions quicker. So not a huge addition in perceived value in my perspective, but still more. Let's see what the sample result is. Okay, so what is this isn't, yeah, I mean, I guess we have an example of a test here. Okay, so here we go. So we have an introduction, then we have the questions. Those would probably be enumerated over several pages. Then we have the answers, which may or may not, it doesn't have an example of getting it wrong. So I don't know what that would look like. But presumably it shows you that you'd be able to do this on paper. Yeah, so I guess if you wanted to bring an IQ test to somebody who has paper and a pencil and ink, all things I can't afford, you could do that. Okay, so oh yeah, I really like this one. I wish there were more like this, like word-based questions. Maybe there were, and I just didn't get to them because I didn't take it seriously. All that said, yeah, this is like, it doesn't bring to the forefront of the conversation the integration of the knowledge base that you would need to interact with these questions, these testing metrics, in order to prove your intelligence. So fundamentally, you need a level of privilege to perform well in something that's supposed to illustrate a fundamental experience of human consciousness. So I think that intelligence is interesting, sure. There's definitely a conversation to be had. It's multifaceted, it's complex, it's personal. Even if you have, like, I don't know, let's go off the IQ scale. Even if you have the same result as someone else, your experience of it is very different. Each person is profoundly unique and absolutely beautiful, by the way, in case you were wondering. So being like having organizations dedicated to IQ, to intelligence, is an interesting idea, but I feel like it needs to be framed in a more accurate way. It needs to be, the attention needs to be brought towards not perpetuating this comparison that we have in the realm of intelligence, but in presenting the truth behind it. If instead of focusing on the marketing of the benefits of paying someone to have access to their stuff, whoa, awesome. We have a random link that talks about the best viewers. I disagree with that assertion. I think the best viewers are right here, right now. And that is always the case. The best viewer is you, personally. The person identified as the number 3 at the moment, in case you were wondering. Yeah, well, we don't have to go to whatever that is to find the best viewers. They're already here. So intelligence is important. It's interesting. It's a facet. It's a part of the human experience. Is it well defined? I don't know if it's defined enough to meet my expectations, because I'm very specific with the words that I use generally, as probably has been demonstrated by this particular experience, I guess. See, there I go again. Should we be beholden to the results of IQ tests? I don't think so. I don't think that there is currently a way to measure intelligence without relying on the pre-existence of a knowledge base, which is gained through access, which is not universal. When or if we as a global society get to a point where individuals in all socioeconomic and cultural environments can be represented, then maybe we can start having generalizations make a little more sense. But for now, you gotta have money to be part of the conversation. And if you don't have it, then you don't count, I guess. Because even doing what I've done today, you need to have an internet-capable device, and you need to know the English language. They probably have translations on other servers and situations like that. But for what I've done specifically, even viewing, you need to know what I'm saying in order to derive value from it. Although I guess you could just listen to my voice and enjoy it. I don't know. So is IQ real? It exists in the same way everything does. How about that? It exists because we believe it does. My friend says I do have a really nice voice. I'm not even using my really nice voice. This is my average conversational voice. If you want to hear my really nice voice, you'll have to check out the recordings that I did of my the book that I'm writing, The Gravity of Gravity. It's really good. Let's see if I can remember the first part. Feeling as if there's no air, no light, something else, only gravity pulling me down somewhere deep, somewhere half-remembered, endless. And then I stand on nothing, on a stage between the stars, staring into the source itself. But the source of what? I forget when I'm asked a question or something. I don't know. I wrote it, but that doesn't mean I memorized it. All that to say, I have different voices. I'm a games master, which I don't like the title of. I go with story guide, but nobody really understands that. Very few people understand what a games master is at that, so not exactly the most common thing in the world. But what is? Is it intelligence? If it is, we don't have a good way to test that, I guess is the point. I don't know. So there you go. Your last answer was not submitted because time ran out. So that puts me in the 16th percentile. The thing that I don't like about that, especially, is the timer. I don't think that pacing is an indication of intelligence. If it takes me 20 minutes to complete 50 questions, but I get all of them right, what does that mean? Right? If I could have gone through and got all of these right, what would that have looked like? What would I have gotten? I don't know. So obviously, all of this is subjective. It's based on a subset of humanity and a very small subset of perspectives that we gave authority to allow them to define these things. I'm sure, authority is an interesting thing. There's like a balance between earned and deserved, I guess, as well as real, the real authority. That's why I always mention on my streams, I don't claim authority. If you like what I say, if it makes sense to you, then sure, you're welcome to give me a sense of authority. But I'm not going to try to prove that I have a good point. I'm just going to tell you what it is. So let me know if you thought this whole situation, this exploration of intelligence was worthwhile. Let me know if you thought it wasn't. I don't know. Just let me know what you think. That'll help me understand my social context as well. Give me a better idea of what it all means, why I do what I do, and what I can do next. Speaking of next, my friend says, yeah, I'd say so, which I'm going to interpret to mean that it was worthwhile. And in response to that, this test, not so much. No. Yeah, right. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. It's such a profound kindness to offer feedback on the internet. So tomorrow, I'm going to be streaming Starfield. Maybe we will come up with a solution to the toilet milk. I'm planning a ceremony to rid us of the paradox, which I may put into action tomorrow, depending on how I feel and how that goes. Sunday, I'll be reading the Bible from the beginning, talking about the demigod project that resulted in a race of ancient elves, and we'll keep going from there. I don't know what comes next. I haven't read that far. I just read the first part just to see if I wanted to do it. And then with the angel chickens, I had to. Yeah, toilet milk, exactly. Yes. Which, again, there's another facet of it, isn't it? The presentation of intelligence is often criticized and evaluated according to the sensibilities of the observer. So if someone sends a couple of emojis, one of a toilet and one of milk, that would be perceived in a certain way, compared to if someone were to say, I look forward to exploring the potential of resolving the paradox, resolving the, which in relation to the milk that we discovered in spatial relation to the toilet. I don't know. Words, all of that could be summed up with emojis, and it's totally fine. You don't have to sound fancy to be intelligent, I guess is what I'm getting at. Because one of the most insightful people I've ever met didn't even finish high school, which they had a very good reason for that. It was, I don't know, expanded my perspective just talking to them. Let's see. As always, if you wanted to check out my Patreon, I would love for you to do that. It's really cool, I think. Exit out of that. They're probably trying to get me to get more people to give me more money so they get more money. Totally optional whether you sign up for a paid membership or not. All of the stuff that I have on here is for free. You just have to sign up. That's the only thing. I don't have it public. I don't have all of it public. I have like my posts talking about what I'm doing at public. So I guess you could read those if you wanted to check it out. Conversations with Clarity. It's where I talk to an AI. But the main thing is The Gravity of Gravity, which is my book that I'm writing, which revolutionizes our understanding of the potential of human society, with a focus on sustainability and inclusion for true representation. Definitely worth a read, I think. I'm going to go back over to my full face. Hello. That's what I call it, even though it's still my full face in the other one. Naming conventions, I don't have them. So I guess stay tuned over the weekend for Starfield and the Bible. I'll be back again after that next Thursday with Audio Alchemy. I'll be probably finishing up that 4-voice counterpoint thing that I was working on, or I'll start a new project for one of the other bands in the Battle of the Bards. Haven't decided, probably won't until Thursday. And then next Friday, if anybody watching this wants to participate in a fully improvised tabletop role-playing game that I have invented, let me know. I can, if you're comfortable with streaming, I can set it up so that we can meet on here and go through that experience. It's based on video games. So if you've ever wanted to have a random video game turned into a TTRPG experience, that's what I'm setting up. So send me a message. If you don't know how to send me a message, I guess you could sign up on Patreon. That's a good way to do it. I also have Instagram, the musical mercenary. You can hit me up there. Check out some of the stuff that I'm doing. I'm sure there's a lot of other things to say. I'm sure there's a lot of ways I could build my business, all of that stuff. But genuinely, I am thankful you exist. Congratulations on making it this far. I hope you know that you deserve to be kind to yourself. You are trying your best, and you are incredible. And I'm deeply grateful to coincide with you. I hope to hear from you soon, and you'll hear from me soon. Probably tomorrow, depending on how hanging out with my friend goes. But most likely, I really want to resolve this toilet milk thing. We'll see how it goes. What is intelligence? I don't know, but maybe we'll figure it out. We haven't yet. That's the main point. That's all I have for you, so goodbye. I look forward to our next conversation.